Hi, I'm Tom from Raymont-Osman Product Design, and in this video I'm just going to talk a little bit about how the chassis for the Queen's Baton for Birmingham 2022 was kind of designed and manufactured. So this is kind of one of the prototype chassis that we made, and this isn't quite fully finished yet. But you can see it's kind of got the full length there, and this is the full structural element of the baton itself. So when you're holding it, this is holding everything else to it. So you've got all the mounts in the top for the message chamber and for the copper parts that come over. And down here is where the lights go. And then the technology that Bomb designed, it's got a battery in here that plugs in. So that plugs in at the end. And then in here is where there was a Raspberry Pi computer that deals with all the lights. And all the communications back to the outside world. Then in here, in this chamber, was the air quality sensor. So that's where the air quality sensor went, and there was vents to the outside. So that was sucking in the air from outside, analysing it, and transmitting it back through the Raspberry Pi, and then some external comms equipment. And then in the top here, there was the 360-degree camera. So the lens was actually down, and it was actually mounted upside down, so it was quite a thin unit. And then buttons on the side, and these are locations where there's a button to turn it on. There's also like a selfie button that starts it on a timer, so you can hold it out and take a selfie. So that's what the chassis doing. Now this is cast aluminium, complex to make in such a kind of organic form, and this form was first designed on CAD system, on SolidWorks. So it's designed as a whole piece and then divided up into 3 separate sections. So it had to be divided into 3 because of the size of our 3D printer. Now we actually bought a brand new printer for doing this project because these parts were so large. This purple part is actually a wax, and this is printed on an SLS stereolithography printer. So it's got this large kind of build structure around it. Now in the 3D printer it hangs that way, so it prints nice and quickly, and these lines here all hang the wax off the print bed, and so that comes out and pulls it out of that way on the machine. Now in casting, it gets set that way vertically in the casting medium. So this goes into kind of a big tube and filled with a material that's quite like plaster of Paris, but it's kind of a casting medium. So that goes in, and the plaster of Paris sets. That was done at Wardle in Birmingham. What then happens is this is heated up, and all this wax melts and burns out and leaves you a void in the casting medium. That then goes into a separate machine which has a lot of liquid aluminium, molten aluminium in it. And so what happens then is that when pour molten aluminium into that cavity, we then get aluminium parts out. This has all the build structure removed, but it comes out kind of with all that build structure as well. That build structure also acts as the build support in the 3D printing, also acts as the runner system in the aluminium casting. So that all goes in, and we get these parts out, and these are all stripped down and cleaned up at Qualitig in Coventry. So we have these parts, we've got all these different shapes. That then gets welded all together. And this entire kind of A surface gets dressed and polished, and then shot blasted and then polished again to give it the nice luster.